Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous, fabulous TV show. Tonya.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you're back today. You're on the Tonya Hofmann Show, and I am so excited. We have a special guest today, Miss Marlene Stokes. Isn't she fabulous, everybody? Hi, Marlene.
Hey, hello, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So we're going to have fun with her in just a minute. I want to remind you to go to the website. If you have not been to the website, what are you waiting for? Public Speakers with an S, association.com. Marlene is not only a fabulous member, but she's a director, an executive director for our San Antonio chapter. So if you're in the San Antonio, Texas area, make sure you go and visit her group because she's amazing. So today what we wanted to do is talk a little bit about you. And what is keeping you from being as fabulous as you can possibly be? And I have this conversation with people all the time. And there's usually two areas. Is, I'm not ready, Tonya. I'm not ready. I'm not ready, right? And that's just a way for you to keep yourself from moving forward. It's the fears of not knowing what is out there. The other one really is the whole idea that everything has to be absolutely perfect before anybody sees it. Right. Perfection will keep you from really doing amazing things. And I know that's going to be a really hard one. It was a hard one for me to just let it go. You know, I could hear my dad in the background, you know, you got to be, you know, just right. You got to make everything perfect. And in the employee world, a lot of times you do, or you might get fired. But in the entrepreneurial world, where it's all about relationships and letting people see what you're up to, it is more important to push the information out and to do something and take action than just to wait. I've seen people wait on things that we're still waiting on. I've got a lady who bought into my email marketing system 2 years ago and hasn't sent out an email yet because it's not perfect. And then 2 years, she could have been changing people's lives. 2 years, she could have been getting her information out there for people to know what she does and to be making money and, again, changing their lives by having them buy into her systems. But she can't let go of, I need to make the right copy. It's not right yet. So if this is you, and I know some of you listening, that's exactly who it is, let it go. Stop trying to be ready and just do. Take action. Action always equals action. And this is why I asked Marlene in today, because she's a woman of action. Right, Marlene?
Absolutely. That's my middle name.
I love hanging around with people like this because she contacted me one time. She was like, hey, Tonya, so how do I get involved? Let's go, you know. And that's the kind of people that I love being around, is people that see opportunity and they don't wait. They just jump through the window. They don't even wait for the door to open. So, Marlene, could you tell us a little bit about you and how you changed your world?
Yeah, absolutely, Tonya. I have probably the same story as hundreds of thousands of women, and also a different story than millions of people out there. I was born in a small town in upstate New York, and I come from a family that was completely dysfunctional, to say the word with a capital C. And growing up in that environment, and by the way, while you're a child and you're in that environment, you have no idea that it's dysfunctional, right? So you're going along, you think everything is wonderful, and until you, you grow up and you become somewhat of an adult, and then you realize that things may be slightly dysfunctional. And what I mean by that is, when I left home, went to college, I left home, I moved to Houston, Texas. And my husband and I, we got involved in a direct sales organization called A.L. Williams. Some people may be familiar with that. And I went to a seminar. And this is what changed my life. This is where I'm going. Is I'm sitting there in a seminar, and there's a gentleman named Lou Tice on stage talking about setting goals and talking about 97% of the people don't write them down, and that the 3% of the people who do are people who meet goals. Well, I've heard the word goal, but I've never heard anything about sit down, set your goals, plan your life. And no one said anything to me about you actually can have some control over what happens to the rest of your life. I'm 21 now, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So, like you said, with that telephone I made to you 40 years later, is the same thing that I did with this gentleman. Is like, I'm really liking what you're saying, and I want to do that. So I actually went to work for this company called Specific Institute, selling motivational tapes and doing leadership training and things like that. And so what changed my life was realizing that I am in total control and I am accountable for everything that happens to me. And I realized what a wonderful journey it could possibly be. And thus far, it has been amazing.
Isn't it funny? I talk to a lot of people, and there's that aha moment that the family that you have been born into isn't what it's all supposed to be, right?
Yeah, when you realize it.
You go over to somebody's house, you're like, what? Y'all aren't yelling and you're not afraid to walk in and, you know.
Exactly. Or bring people home. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's funny and it's interesting. It's like it was like a whole new world, and then trying to bring the family into it, which I think is a lot of, and we'll get to later, is like why I'm in the business that I'm in, is that realizing or really feeling a mission and a passion to help others actually discover for themselves that they have the ability to have a wonderful and an amazing life as well.
Yeah.
Tweaking a few things. It's really not like a major overhaul. I think sometimes we're afraid that it's going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, and I think for a lot of people, it was for me, as I looked at my environment, as a child, teenager, young adult, and I'm like, all right, I don't want to end up like my aunts, so I'm going to avoid their behavior. And, my grandmother died really young from smoking like every few seconds, and so I'm going to avoid that. And you start putting together, and what I was doing without really knowing was making decisions that continued to move me forward.
Right.
And I find a lot of people just avoid making any decisions. So then they just kind of happenstance, something happens.
Absolutely. Or what's even scarier is that they pick up these things and they become beliefs and truths for them. And it's really not the truth. It's just something that they picked up from the family. Like, for example, when you're young and your parents tell you you're stupid, or they tell you that you can't do this, or you're never going to amount to anything. And, the child begins to believe that and live their life from those patterns, and they hear those voices of the parents, then that does become their truth. But it's not the truth. It's their truth. And
I remember that moment when I graduated from high school. I was the perfect student, straight A, honor school, just the whole rigmarole. And I was like, okay, so Dad, what do I do with my life? Eyes wide open. I did everything I was supposed to do. And he looked at me like, you're a girl. Just go get married, have babies, have someone support you. I'm like, what?
Yes, Tony. Wow. Same thing in my family is that my father didn't believe that women needed to go to college. I'm the youngest in my family, and I'm the first one to go to college because, again, I wasn't buying into the story.
Yeah.
And like you, that was before the seminar. That was just me saying, something's not right. I mean, wonderful people, love my family to death, but I, was, no, I don't think so. Graduate from school and was, what, are you going to get a job? I'm like, yeah, of course. But, things there's a little bit more to it than that. So, yeah.
I put myself through college because I just wanted to say, see, I'm a woman and I can finish college. How about that? And the problem that I think that a lot of people run into is that personal development, right?
Yes.
Is really looking at their life and figuring out how do you adjust what you need to adjust so that you can continue. So I know you do a lot of that. So can you give us some tips and techniques that people could use, or some ideas that they can change their world?
Yes. I'll give you something that I use myself. And I think one major thing, and I know, first I want to say is that most of the tips are things that we all heard, but we don't do. So, and again, today it'll be the same. Some will, some won't. But the very first thing I think that was a major change for me, and I still do it every day, and it's one of the things that I work with my clients, is that you should journal. You should write down everything that you intend to do, to have happen. You can call these your goals. You can write them down in the form of affirmations. And when I say affirmations, for those who don't know, that's just writing it down in a positive voice as if it has already happened. But whatever it is, or however you do it, like Tony said in the introduction, there's no right way to do it. Just start doing it. Start writing down, get a journal, and write down everything it is that you intend to do or would like to do. Dream about it. Keep it big. Don't say, no, not this. I can't do this. Just go for it. If I had $1 million, one of those, and write it all down. Then pick whatever it is that you want to work on, and then say, if I was going to do that, what I need. And then lastly, and I think this is the major thing, is don't screen on it. Just go ahead and get started on it. And then you're going to start having your tables are going to come up, your patterns are going to come up, you're going to hear all these voices. It may be your mother's voice, maybe your father's voice, it could be your voices about telling you how you can't do this, you're not good at math, whatever. And start writing down where you hear those limiting conversations that you're having on your own. It's called your internal conversations. Write down those internal conversations that you have so that you can actually sit down, take a look at it, and realize that it's not the truth. Or if you believe it's the truth, you can say, okay, it was the truth in the past, it may be the truth today, but it's not going to be the truth for me tomorrow. So what is it that I need to do right now and today to not have that be the truth for me tomorrow? And then say, everything is possible for me because I am a wonderful, spiritual, loving human being, and let's get busy, and keep writing it in the journal. And you'll be amazed that if you start looking for your miracles and looking for your positive movement forward, it will happen. But you need to look for it and document it. And the more and more you look for it, the more and more you document it, the more and more you'll have.
Love it. And don't you find, this is what gets me, is people have all these amazing, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to, they have these great, incredible goals, but they keep it a secret.
Yes.
So how can I help you achieve your goals if I don't even know what they are?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, your goals should be hollered from the top of the building. Once you decide what it is that you want and you make that commitment public.
Yeah.
So that the universe and the people around you can support you.
There are so many nice people that all they're waiting for is to help you.
Absolutely.
And and I think that was the hardest thing for me to get over, is that people would help, because I was kind of in an environment that, people are bad, people are evil, because I had so much horrible things going on around me. It was just easier to be by myself.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I closed myself off, but then it eliminated all the fabulous people that was really out there to help.
Exactly. And most people's intention are good, and most people will help you if you just ask. Is that most of us just don't ask for help. That's why we don't have mentors, and that's why we don't have mastermind groups. So we don't ask people.
Yes. Even for me, I love connecting people to each other. But if I don't know really who you're looking to connect with, how will I know? And it doesn't have to be a specific person. It could be, you may want to meet a certain person, but it could just be in general, So if I was talking to a realtor the other day and they're like, well, it would be great to connect to somebody who's, has some really nice, connections to people moving. And I'm like, oh, I've got connections like that.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out who it is that you need to know.
Exactly. Absolutely. Figuring out. That's why I always go back to the journaling. Write it down. What it is. Who do you need to know? Who do you already know? And one other thing that I hear a lot, Tony, is a lot of people say, well, I'm not outgoing or I'm not an extrovert. And they think that the world is run or everybody that's really having fun and having a good life are extroverted people. Well, I'll tell you, I'm an introvert. And probably 40% of us out there are, or maybe even 60. But you know what? We have a fabulous life too, because it's really not about if you think that you're introvert, and again, those in the back of your mind telling you, well, if you're an introvert, then you can't do this, and you can't do this, and you can't be like that, and you can't be like that.
Right.
It has nothing to do with it. However you are, the people think that you're wonderful, and they'll welcome you in. And you don't have to change. You don't have to be something other than who you are to start working on whatever it is that you want to be.
Absolutely. I am a huge introvert. I would call myself a recovering introvert. And most of the big speakers that I know are very introverted.
Yes.
You know, some of them I'm still have to get there hiding out and say, come on, come network with me. You know, I've gotten over a lot of my issues just because I forced myself for so long to do it anyways. You know?
Yeah, one of the tricks that I've used is I always, whenever I have something that's important or bigger that I'm working on, a goal, then the little thing about getting over being shy or not wanting to have a conversation just disappears, i.e. this TV interview. The introverted Marlene would not be on here, but see, I'm up to much bigger things than that.
And we just have fun, you know, and I want to show y'all, because most of the time people are like, oh, Tonya, you are not an introvert. You know? And I'm like, I've got the perfect picture. In 2005, I went to the Leander, Texas Chamber of Commerce, you know, banquet gala, and they took a picture of me, and it shows all how incredibly introverted. So this is the picture of me. This is like, don't look at me type of person, right? And so if I can be where I am today, so can each one of you. You just have to make that decision and then move forward, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I love that. You know, do you find that it's also a great excuse to keep things the same? Because a lot of people, they really want to stay in their kind of comfort zone arena.
Absolutely, it's an excuse. The procrastination is an excuse. I don't have the education. I don't have the right network. I don't know the right people. I mean, you can make that list is going to be longer probably than the list of the things that you want to do. Yes.
I meet people all the time, obviously, you know, and I meet about 100 to 1,000 people a week. And how many times they're like, oh, I've got to get my PhD first. Oh, I got to get this certification first. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. And I'm like, what? Exactly. I mean, all of the big speakers and all the big coaches that I know, they don't have a certificate in that, whatever they're teaching. They're just an expert. They just know it. Just like all of you out there, you know your stuff. You don't have to have someone tell you that you know it.
Exactly. And if you want to get all of that, you can get all of that while you're doing your thing.
There you go.
Exactly.
Don't wait.
Exactly. You do not have to wait until you get the PhD or the certification and all of this in order to share whatever it is your passion or whatever your message is. And that's the other thing. If it is your passion or your calling, then it's almost you're so drawn to do it that you're going to overcome a lot of those other things with just a little help from some mentors or some people who are already doing it that can get you past the what I don't know that I don't know.
There's always someone who already has done it. So, exactly. You know, and a lot of times you just push it out through social media. Hey, has everyone done a Google Hangout? And someone will say, oh, I did. Let me tell you how to.
Exactly. And that's why, you know, I really do love the Public Speakers Association because, you know, you have the Facebook group and the meetings that you have is for that very reason is that you can get information on just about anything because everybody is kind of up to the same thing, although it's different. But, you know, how do I do Facebook? You know, how do I do LinkedIn? I've never done this. I've never done that. Somebody's already done it and they're willing to share freely.
I love sharing. You know, people contact me. They're like, Tonya, do you mind if I ask you? I'm like, no, that's what I'm here for. You know, I spent $3 million on trying to figure it out. You know, I don't want you to.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's great once you get out there and you just start speaking from your heart and your passion, and the rest of it will follow.
Now, I know, and I forgot to remind my listeners, but they all know, they know that they're waiting for the moment you give them the free offer that they always give. My guests always give such amazing things away. So what are you giving away today?
Well, I have a free offer, which is a ebook. And what it is, it's a book on actually how you overcome objections. So quickly, the first thing you're going to say, well, isn't that having to do with sales? Yes and no, because I come from a different background where I kind of combine my sales with my transformation training. So overcoming objections means with your children, with your mates, with your employer, or in sales. So I have a free ebook of overcoming objections. If you'd like to get it, all you need to do is to, you can send me an email. Let me give you my email really quickly. And that's Marlene, Marlene, at astrategicintervention.com. Got it? And I had to fill out the dictionary on that one. astrategicintervention.com.
Nice, nice. So everyone take advantage of that. And you have a webinar coming up that you want to let everybody know about.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding me that, Tony. I actually am having a webinar in March. Hold on, let me refer to my notes. I don't give you the wrong dates. And glasses, guys. My webinar is on March 28th and 29th. It's a 2-day webinar. And again, this is a webinar that is going to be really for everyone that wants to influence or persuade people. I focus on women and I focus on salespeople, but the information is for everyone. So again, send me the email if you're interested in the webinar, and I will give you the dates, the details, and the costs. It's quite affordable, and I think it will be of quite interest to everyone, because I think everyone needs to know how to influence and persuade.
Oh, always. Are you going to be recording that so they can buy it later?
Yes, ma'am. I will be recording it. For those that can't make those dates, you will be able to get a replay of that.
Perfect. Well, I'm so excited that you were able to join us today.
Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Everything that you're doing is wonderful.
Yeah.
And come on, everyone come. Don't forget to visit me when you come to San Antonio to our meeting. We meet every third Thursday.
Nice. And also, we're going to have our public speakers conference in San Antonio, June 14th through the 17th. So we'll be on the Riverwalk, having margaritas and Mexican food. We're going to have a blast.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet everybody.
Yeah, so go check that out, publicspeakers.conference.com, and you'll find out all kinds of great information about the event. And then you'll get to meet Marlene too while you're in town. All right, everyone, I will see you next time. Remember to go to the website, publicspeakersassociation.com, and I hope to get to know you. Just like with Marlene, let's just have some fun and move forward and take action and make this year fabulous. Bye, everybody. Bye.